All right, so at the time this video is going live, we are less than a week out from the Game Awards 2024 taking place, and as a Nintendo fan, you should by no means be setting yourself up for expectations of this being some kind of Nintendo blowout event. However, Nintendo does have a very storied history at this presentation and has made numerous different announcements over the course of time that we will walk through, and in such an interesting year where we know they are working on the transition to their next generation hardware, and hence we don't really have a clear picture of what 2025 is going to look like at this point in time, other than a few already revealed titles: Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Pokemon Legends ZA and Prime 4 Beyond. We all know to expect to release in 2025. Past that, we don't have a clear look at what their first party software lineup looks like, and so the potential for some kind of meaningful shadow drop digital only announcement could be high. We don't have a February game on their release roadmap. Nintendo doesn't always do a December game, but they could want to have something out first party that could be shadow dropped at this presentation as a December game. And I want to start off by talking about the magnitude of their announcements over recent years and revisit some outstanding rumors with games that have either been shown off briefly, such as Prime 4 Beyond, or some unrevealed games that should still be in the pipeline for Nintendo to announce to us, and discuss the overall likelihood on whether or not any of these games may be featured at something like the Game Awards 2024. So we'll get on the same page with all of this info. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And I want to first talk through just a brief history of what Nintendo has done at this presentation in years past. Now, one asterisk that you have to have with this conversation is that Reggie Fils-Aimé, the previous Nintendo of America president, was very close with Jeff Keighley. They are friends within the gaming industry, and it seemed like in years where Reggie was still kind of running the show for Nintendo of America that maybe you could correlate Nintendo having a bigger presence at this showcase back in those years, as opposed to Doug Bowser, who shows up and accepts awards for games, but largely doesn't seem to have that kind of close personal connection with Jeff. And this is largely a Jeff Keighley show at the end of the day. So you could make an argument that Nintendo is less connected to this show now than they once were. However, we have seen some significant announcements since Reggie left the business, such as Sephiroth being revealed for Smash Bros. We've had two different Smash Bros DLC characters revealed at the Game Awards as well, with the Joker being revealed, even though Reggie was still around for that. Now, the biggest thing that Nintendo's ever probably focused on and revealed to us fans for the Zelda franchise is Breath of the Wild details, as that game showed up multiple years in a row at the Game Awards, both to promote the game before it was out, and then even a DLC reveal trailer for a second DLC pack for the game. Bayonetta 3, being a Nintendo Switch exclusive title, is software that saw promotion at the Game Awards. We also got Bayonetta Origins revealed at the Game Awards, and the confirmation that Bayonetta 1 and 2 would be coming to the Switch. And we have also seen Nintendo not necessarily tie this announcement to the Game Awards, but on the same day announce things like new N64 games coming to Nintendo Switch Online. And so while you could glance at that list of announcements and say really mainly it's Smash Bros DLC and Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC and or promotion of the game itself, I do still think that overall, when looking at this presentation, we see Nintendo show up in some capacity more often than not. We also have one tease, if you want to read into it a little bit, from Mr. Jeff Keighley himself, talking about Metroid Prime 4 specifically in a tweet outlining some of Nintendo's upcoming games for 2025, and he specifically highlights including Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It was later confirmed that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will indeed be up for most anticipated game of 2025. I don't think it will win that award because of course Grand Theft Auto 6 is in that list, but nonetheless, it's very obvious that Jeff Keighley's probably excited for Prime 4, and it's possible that Nintendo does want additional eyeballs outside of their traditional direct presentations to see a game like Metroid Prime 4 and have it a little bit more in the limelight of the mainstream and or casual gamers that watch this presentation that would just not simply tune into a Nintendo Direct focused presentation. And I think that out of all of the games that we talk about today that could potentially show up at the Game Awards, I like the chances for Prime 4 Beyond the most, and there is also just the slightest possibility that Nintendo would do something like a shadow drop announcement of Prime 2 and 3 at this showcase before focusing on a Prime 4 more detailed trailer. I still am leaning more on the side of Nintendo doing that in February at their Direct next year as opposed to the Game Awards. But again, just because of the nature of Metroid and the sales history behind it, I do think there's a chance that Nintendo wants to throw this into a very mainstream show that's going to have a ton of eyes on it that maybe isn't tuning into their own presentations. So that, from a logic-based perspective, is a strong possibility in my opinion. We do also have some other outstanding, very rumor speculation territory games to be discussed that you could make an argument might show up at this event. You probably remember Pioro teasing Xenoblade Chronicles X shortly before it was revealed, and they had this picture of an Alarmo clock from Nintendo as their background on their Twitter profile, and then at some point that clock became warped, and you could almost say that it's like a time warp and or a wave. And Pioro had previously confirmed that whatever they were teasing with that picture still had not been announced from Nintendo, and we haven't seen any major first-party announcements from them since they updated their profile picture to be that. Now, if you're saying it's finally time for something and it's wavy, a lot of speculation started to pop up online, specifically around Wind Waker HD. And while I would love to see this game make it to market, and I think it's a perfect opportunity for Nintendo to do it while we're in this kind of transition period, and they need to have more software for the Switch 1 while things are getting built out for the Switch 2. I don't want to put any hope and expectations into Wind Waker HD showing up at this event, but it is one of those games that I could see Nintendo just randomly thinking we all forgot about and that it's not coming over, and they're just going to drop it on us one day or drop the announcement on us one day. And that is at least somewhat in the conversation of possibility of games that could show up at this presentation Thursday next week. And one game that is not a Switch exclusive but is still in the heavy rumor speculation talk right now is a final look and reveal and release date for Silksong. And I do think that, you know, that's going to be hype for Nintendo fans. It's not Nintendo first party by any stretch of the imagination, but Samus Hunter, who does seem to have a valid track record that checks out so far in the year of 2024, has teased a Silksong announcement, and they've also kind of said that maybe they put that info out there a little bit early compared to when we would see it revealed. And obviously we know to expect some kind of new game announcements or updates at this presentation regardless. So I think Silksong fits that build, and it might finally be time to see this game and learn about its launch date. Then on the less exciting side of things, but also a very realistic possibility, Nintendo might just show up to promote some of their already announced games. As I mentioned, we don't know much about the 2025 games lineup, but we do know to expect Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Pokemon Legends ZA, and Metroid Prime 4. And while Metroid Prime 4, you know, may or may not be there as mentioned, and I don't think Pokemon has a shot, there is a shot that Nintendo just wants to air some commercials more or less, or give us updated trailers on games that are slated as 2025 releases. And it could just be another look at Donkey Kong Country Returns HD and or Xenoblade Chronicles X. I can see Nintendo potentially doing something like that. And to be fair, we have seen them do this in the past where they just kind of show splash reel commercials only, and that's really their only first party presence at the event. I'm hoping we get more than that, but it might just be some acknowledgement of games that Nintendo already has announced, and they're just going to use this platform to kind of advertise some of those a bit further. But the possibilities for something Nintendo at this presentation are still high. I like the chances the most for Metroid in some capacity. Past that, maybe there is a one-off shot that Wind Waker HD makes a surprise appearance and even a shadow drop announcement on the eShop with a physical edition coming later. We did have that one Russian retailer that has leaked games in the past for Nintendo Switch actually upload a picture of Wind Waker HD box art. So there's some, you know, validity to that while it's being teased potentially by Pioro with that Alarmo clock background. We'll have to wait and see what ultimately unfolds from this, but I am personally planning on watching the Game Awards live. I'll probably be streaming it here on the channel. It is Thursday, December 12th, and it's going to be a long, probably three and a half hour total presentation. So let me know in the comments down below if you have any hope or expectations for anything notable from Nintendo at this showcase, or do you think it will be yet another year that we get them really just airing some sizzle reel type commercials and really having no actual presence in terms of first party major announcements. But oh, and I should say, just for any expectations that anybody thinks maybe hardware will be revealed there from Nintendo, I personally am setting zero thought, hopes, or dreams for a first look at the Switch 2 trailer. Like, Nintendo wants to own that announcement announcement when it happens and have all eyeballs on them. They don't want to be competing with a bunch of other stuff that's going to be revealed at this presentation. I know Xbox did it with the Series X. Microsoft operates very different from Nintendo, but let me know in the comments down below how you feel about all of this and what, if anything, you think we'll see from Nintendo at this presentation. So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.